Fort Monroe, also known as the Fort Monroe National Monument, was a military installation in Hampton, Virginia, at Old Point Comfort, the southern tip of the Virginia Peninsula. Within the 565 acres of Fort Monroe, there are 170 historic buildings and nearly 200 acres of natural resources, including 8 miles of waterfront, 3.2 miles of beaches on the Chesapeake Bay, 110 acres of submerged lands, and 85 acres of wetlands. It has 332 slip marina and shallow water inlet access to Mill Creek, suitable for small watercraft.
Over time, the armament at Fort Monroe was improved, taking advantage of new technologies. In addition, the fort controlled several sub-installations around Hampton Roads, making the area one of the most heavily defended in the United States. The Jamestown Exposition, held in 1907 at Hampton Roads, featured an extensive naval review, including the Great White Fleet. Beginning in 1917, the former exposition site at Sewell's Point became a major base of the United States Navy. Currently, Norfolk Navy Base is the base supporting naval forces operating in the Atlantic Ocean, Mediterranean Sea, and Indian Ocean. It is the world's largest naval station by number of military members supported. Old Point Comfort Lighthouse marks the entrance to historic Hampton Roads, a substantial harbor situated at the mouths of the James, Nansemond, and Elizabeth Rivers, and stands on ground which has seen many a fort constructed nearby to defend this important waterway. The tower's present neighbor, the Civil War-era Fort Monroe, was preceded by colonial Fort George, which in turn was probably preceded by an even earlier fortification. A navigational beacon on Old Point Comfort was active as early as 1775, when John Dams, caretaker of the ruins at Fort George, was paid an annual supplement of £20 to tend a light there. Some historians believe that Native Americans kept wood fires burning at the point before that, for the benefit of Spanish ships during the 16th century. The keeper's dwelling housed the families of 2 Coast Guardsmen until automation in 1973. Presently, it is the house of an Army Major. The house was described in an inventory of the station produced by the Army as stylistically eclectic, exhibiting influences from the shingle style of the 1870s, the stick style of the 1870s, a touch of Queen Anne, and a soupçon of Eastlake. The Old Point Comfort Lighthouse, built in 1802, is the oldest standing structure at Fort Monroe. It remains an active navigational aid, the property of the U.S. Coast Guard. During the War of 1812, the tower was used as a lookout by a British invasion force while they attacked Washington. Concrete Endicott period 3-inch coastal gun battery on Fort Monroe, Virginia. Lieutenant Irwin served with distinction in the war against the Florida Indians and was killed 21st of September, 1846 at the Battle of Monterrey, Mexico.
What is this place?
It's Battery Irwin, dedicated to Lieutenant Douglas Irwin, built in 1903.
Is it still in use?
No, it was deactivated in 1920.
Battery Irwin is pretty cool too. Oh, look, a lighthouse!
Let's go!
Comfort Lighthouse memorializes the safety of mariners during Civil War times and America's freedom from British rule. It stands 54 feet high.
Lighthouse is located on Fort Monroe, and right next to it is the Lightkeeper's house.
The adjacent house was the lightkeeper's quarters until the light was automated in 1973 when the house became Army property.
During the War of 1812, the lighthouse fell into British hands.
But wait, we got it back! In 1837, Congress is going to move the lighthouse inside Fort Monroe.
But they canceled at the last view the lighthouse overlooks.
Fort Monroe is home to a multitude of outdoor activities. On this 565-acre property, you'll find beautiful nature trails, paths for walking, jogging and biking, miles of beaches, and of course, spectacular views of the Chesapeake Bay. From a summer concert series featuring area military bands to lectures from noted historians, there are many ways to enjoy Fort Monroe. Fort Monroe had a companion fortification in the Hampton Roads Harbor. Fort Wool, located on what is actually a man-made island, was built to help defend the harbor from enemy ships. While Fort Monroe had huge guns along its walls, they weren't very accurate at long range. In the early 1800s, a cannon could fire about a mile, the exact distance to Fort Wool. Construction of Fort Wool would allow crossfire. Between these two intimidating fortifications, no enemy ship would want to cross its path.
Comfort is the oldest operating lighthouse on the Chesapeake Bay.
It is currently run by the U.S. Coast Guard.
Huge shape.